You are welcome to Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is DJ and today we're going to be discussing the Bavandimwe of Uganda. Yes, I know this is an interesting topic that everyone would like to be part of, that everyone would like to listen to. So we're going to be discussing the Bavandimwe of Uganda, looking at their identity, politics, and the struggle for recognition. So this is how we roll. Alright, the Bavandimwe, a group of Rwandan descent who have lived in Uganda for generations, are making headlines again as they push for recognition in Uganda. Their leader, or one of their leaders, Frank Gashumba, has stirred controversy by claiming recently that 102 members of parliament in Uganda are of Banyarwanda descent. While his claim is difficult to verify, it reflects the deepening conversation about identity, their identity, citizenship, and political participation in Uganda, and that's what we're discussing. Now, let's look at their historical background. The immigration of Rwandans to Uganda dates back nearly a century. During the 1920s, around there, under the British colonial rule, many Rwandese moved to Uganda as laborers in the agricultural sector. Now, the colonial government facilitated this migration to support its plantation economy, particularly in the regions of Ankoli, then Buganda and Kigezi. By the time Uganda gained its independence in 1962, many of these Rwandese had migrated and established themselves in Uganda, marrying locals and contributing to the economy. Now, in 1994, during the Rwandan genocide, it brought a massive wave of refugees into Uganda, fleeing the violence in their home country. Many of these Rwandese, by the way, settled permanently in Uganda, further cementing their historical ties between Uganda and Rwanda. Today, people of Rwandan ancestry form a substantial community in Uganda, many of them identifying definitely as Ugandans because they've been born here. Despite their generation ties to the country, the Bavandimwe community, as they call themselves, still struggle with issues of legal recognition and citizenship. These Bavandimwe, a self-identifying term meaning people of the same motherland, have long faced challenges of being accepted as Ugandans. Though many were born and raised in Uganda, their Rwandan heritage often complicates, their ability to obtain national cards, passports, and other legal documents while in Uganda. This lack of formal recognition eventually affects their access to education, healthcare, and even political participation. Though we shall look at one point that when it comes to the time of, engaging in elections, presidential elections, and other elections, sometimes they're involved. Now, Frank Gashumba, the Bavandimwe's outspoken leader, has been at the forefront of this movement. His frustration is palpable when he discusses the community's relationship with the Ugandan state. He was once quoted saying, "During elections, we are rallied to go and vote. We are recognized as Ugandans when it is convenient. But after elections, there is total reset, as though we were never Ugandans in the first place. We are used and then discarded." This sentiment of being politically exploited but legally marginalized is echoed by many in the Bavandimwe community. They've been crying over the same thing over and over again. We don't know when it will come to an end. Now let's look at their political influence. Gashumba has been claiming, or has claimed, that there are 102 members of parliament of Banyarwanda descent in Ugandan parliament. Whether the number is accurate or not, the claim highlights the growing political visibility of the Bavandimwe. Over time, many of these people of Rwandan descent have risen through the ranks of Ugandan society, participating in sectors like business, education, and politics. And according to Gashumba, the Banyarwanda are already a part of Uganda's political system. They work hard, they contribute to the development of the country, and many of them hold leadership positions. But when it comes to formal recognition, they are kept at arm's length. He feels they are always marginalized as the Bavandimwe community in Uganda. This political influence, however, is not without any controversy. Critics argue that the presence of so many Banyarwanda in Uganda could lead to divided loyalties, especially given Ugandans sometimes tense relationship with Rwanda. Security experts have voiced concerns about the potential of espionage, with some alleging that Rwandan operatives have infiltrated Ugandan key institutions under the guise of being Ugandans. Uganda and Rwanda share deep historical, political, and cultural ties. The current president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, lived in Uganda for years and was a key figure in the National Resistance Army that brought Yoweri Museveni to power in 1986. Many members of the Kagame's government also have ties to Uganda, having fought alongside Museveni during the NRA insurgency. However, the relationship between the two countries has not always been smooth. Over the past decade, tensions have flared between Uganda and Rwanda, with occasions of espionage, political interference, and even border skirmishes. Rwanda has accused Uganda of harboring dissidents, while Uganda has accused Rwanda of spying and interfering in its domestic affairs. So the Bavandimwe find themselves caught in the middle of a political tension. Though they see themselves as Ugandans, their Rwandan heritage makes them vulnerable to suspicions and dual loyalty. Gashumba has repeatedly dismissed these concerns, stating that we are not spies for Rwanda. Most of us have never even set foot in Rwanda. Our ancestors came here generations ago, so we are Ugandans in every essence of the word. That is according to Frank Gashumba. The Bavandimwe have held several discussions with the government of Uganda, seeking recognition as full citizens. According to Gashumba, the government has made promises to address their concerns, but progress has been very slow. He says, "We have met with officials many times, but nothing changes. I have personally met with President on the same issue, but I'm always told that's a small matter. We are still treated as second-class citizens. We still have to jump through hoops just to get a national ID or a passport." Now, despite these challenges, the Bavandimwe remain hopeful that they believe that with the continued advocacy, they can achieve recognition they deserve. Gashumba has emphasized that the struggle is not just the current generation, but for the future ones as well. Our children should not have to face the same struggles that we have faced. They are Ugandans, born and raised here. They deserve the full rights of citizenship, he asserts. The Rwandan government has largely remained silent on the issue of the Bavandimwe's struggle in Uganda. However, Rwandan benefits from the presence of Rwandan-descended individuals in Uganda, particularly in terms of soft diplomacy and influence. So in one way or the other, Rwanda benefits from the presence of people with the Rwandese descent in Uganda by exploiting the soft diplomacy and the influence. So, some Ugandan security experts have expressed concerns that Rwanda may exploit the Bavandimwe for intelligence purposes, though these claims have not been substantiated. For its part, the Rwandan government has generated focus on fostering good relationship with the Rwandan diaspora in the neighborhood countries. However, Kigali has not openly advocated for the Bavandimwe's cause, due to the sensitive nature of Uganda-Rwanda relations. So, is there a threat caused by these people? The Bavandimwe group of Rwandan descent living in Uganda are viewed as potential security threat due to allegations of spionage and fears of divided loyalties. With Uganda and Rwanda having strained relationships at some point, Ugandan authorities worry that some members of the Bavandimwe may be acting as intelligence operatives for Rwanda. The history ties between these two nations, particularly in the involvement of Rwandan President Paul Kagame and his allies in Uganda during the 1980s and then the 1990s, intensify these suspicions. While no substantial evidence has been presented, the perception of spionage, coupled with the Bavandimwe's desire for citizenship, has made them a focal point of Ugandan security concerns. Additionally, the political influence of the Bavandimwe, especially with allegations that over 100 MPs are of Banyarwanda descent, has raised concerns about foreign interference in Uganda's domestic affairs. Now, if a person in the stature of Frank Gashumba and his influence comes out to say that there is 102 or so member of parliaments of Rwandan descent in Uganda today, then that is scaring for most Ugandans. That's what raises questions that how secure are we when we have such influence that has now gone as far as the high positions of government. So the word or the utterances of Frank Gashumba saying that they have influence of 102 MPs in parliament cannot be taken light by Ugandans, and it has raised questions to an extent that people want to understand how did this come about. So we hope you like this video, you're able to share, subscribe and like, because it's interesting to listen to. We go on. Critics argue that individuals of Rwandan descent holding significant positions of power could lead to the covert influence by the Rwandan government. This has contributed to heightened tensions as some Ugandans view the Bavandimwe's quest for recognition as a challenge to the national identity, potentially sparking ethnic rivalry and internal instability. These factors combined to create a sense of mistrust and fear that the Bavandimwe's could leverage or could be leveraged by Rwanda to undermine Uganda's national security. Estimating the number of people of Rwandan descent living in Uganda could be challenging, but some estimates suggest that there are over 1 million Banyarwanda in this country. This number includes those families who arrived during the colonial era, as well as refugees who came after the Rwandan genocide of 1994. The Banyarwanda in Uganda contribute significantly to the economy, particularly in agriculture, trade and education. Many are integrated into the Ugandan society, but the legal hurdles they face remain a persistent challenge. Now, in conclusion, therefore, the story of the Bavandimwe is one migration, integration, and ongoing struggle for recognition. As Ugandan continues to grapple with questions of national identity and citizenship, the Bavandimwe's push for legal recognition is likely to remain a significant issue. Frank Gashumba's allegations about the presence of Banyarwanda descendants MPs highlighted the community's growing influence, but they also raised important questions about loyalty and Uganda's relationship with Rwanda. For the Bavandimwe, the fight for recognition is not just about the legal status, it's about affirming their place in the country they call home. As Gashumba puts it, we are not asking for favors, we are asking for what is rightfully ours. Our ancestors built lives here and we are part of this country. It is time for Uganda to recognize us as its own. Sometimes this too much influence of the Banyarwanda in Uganda gets me asking myself questions. Does the same happen in Rwanda? Do we have Ugandan people or people of Ugandan descent in Rwanda that are in high positions, like the way we see Gashumba claiming that 102 MPs in the Ugandan government, in the Ugandan parliament, are of Rwandan descent? Do we have Ugandans or Ugandans of Ugandan descent in Rwanda government high positions? That's what I thought we would discuss today on Africa Uncovered YouTube channel, to let you know that the question of Bavandimwe has been here for some time. It is not going to end tomorrow, but they are fighting for recognition, the kind of recognition that will, allow them to have passports easily, identity cards as well, as freely as any other Ugandan, because they are Ugandans and they fully deserve what is rightfully theirs. Most of them claim that they've never stepped their foot in Rwanda, they don't know anyone from there, their great and great grandparents lived in Uganda, stayed in Uganda, died in Uganda, and therefore they have literally no connection with Rwanda at present. Therefore, they cannot live in limbo, but should be allowed to have Uganda as their home. That's what we thought we would discuss today on Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is DJ. Catch us next time. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share, like, comment, and push this channel to greater heights. Otherwise, from me to you, I am DJ. Adios.